I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, December the 4th, brought to you in part by Zactran. Stress opens the gate to bovine respiratory disease. Slam it shut with Zactran. Remember to observe your 35-day withdrawal period after treatment. For more information, go to Zactran.com or visit with your BI representative. A one-way relationship, and that's the relationship between the packer and your cattle sellers and the feedlots, not your sweetheart formula guys, but the actual cash sellers, the few guys that are still out there trying to hold this industry together, and they've got the brunt of the work every week, and it's kind of a thankless job that they're doing out there. But if you guys have ever been involved with a one-way relationship, and I have, and be on the bad end of it, I've had them both professionally and personally, and it's not a good feeling there. But you know, when things are tough for your cattle people, and not to say that they're not now, but when you've got cattle that were placed on feed at high prices, whenever you've got storms that have really messed your cattle up and caused your cost of gains to be through the roof, and going to make those hard to pencil out, when your feed costs get really high, when you've had a lot of loss of equity and things like that. You know, the packers have no sympathy at all. They're still going to try to buy cattle cheaper every week. That's what they do. They got the packer psychology. They make everybody live in fear that they're not going to have room to get their cattle slaughtered, that they don't need them, that there's a holiday coming up, and they're going to pretty much shut things down and the like. And you guys know that that's what happens. You know, maybe they spread some rumors that they're going to have a COVID shutdown or something like that. There's no extent to what they will do to try to keep a lid on the market. And but now that our box beef cutout values are starting to plunge seasonally like they always do, and they're still got record high prices on the rib and some of your products, and the average of them, the box beef cutout values, still almost 240, which is historically very high. And they're making big time money, and they've got margins of $300 to $400 a head, when a lot of you guys are having a hard time penciling these cattle out just to make them wash. But I tell you what, it's a frustrating deal, and I talk about it a lot on here. It seems like we're starting to lose. You know, now that we've had some good feeder cattle markets, and things have been rolling, we've been busy through the fall run and everything, people have kind of got out of the idea that we really need to push this minimum mandated negotiated cash trade. It's the only thing that's going to save it, guys. It's the only thing that's going to save it. You've got to find a group to get involved with that supports that and help them push that. We can't continue to do this year after year after year, or even month after month. You know, these big outfits are losing their equity. These big family feeding operations are losing their equity, and it's going to come to a point where they won't be able to finance anymore. You can't just continue to beat your head against the wall and think that it's not going to knock you out or cause your forehead to bleed. I'd say it's bleeding down in our eyes pretty good right now. But you know, it's a frustrating thing. We come into this week knowing that we were going to hold at least steady and probably gain a buck. Maybe ask for $2 more, but probably should have traded at 112. We couldn't even hold 111. Southern Plains established a market on Thursday at 110. We've got some Texas boys that's got their heels in the ground trying to hang on. I hope most of them go to the national finals and just tell their packer buyers to go to hell. That's probably what needs to happen, because they would come to their milk pretty fast, guys. They need those cattle. They've got a lot of obligations with contracts and things to get filled between here and the end of the year and going into the new year. They need those cattle. They haven't traded 1,000 head yet in Texas, and I would say go to Fort Worth. Put your mask in your pocket in case you need it just to walk in the bar that you want to go into, then put it back in your pocket, which makes all kinds of sense, And then and just when you see your packer buyer come up on your phone, just push that button on the side that makes it quit ringing, and go back to enjoying yourself, because you guys aren't in that bad a shape. The Texas feedlot area is the most current that we have, and you guys can hang on to cattle for another week or two, but they're going to make you fear that during the holidays they're not going to slaughter hardly any cattle on there, and you guys aren't going to be able to get your cattle slaughtered, and then you're going to get backed up, and then weights are going to be a problem, and then you're not going to be able to get cattle. They're hauling cattle from Iowa and Nebraska down into the southern plains, guys, to fill slots. That's where we're at. But you know, I'm just one little guy out here talking, or one big guy with a little voice, I guess, talking. But anyway, it's kind of a tough deal. Your futures were down hard. You know, why were the futures down hard? I can see no other reason that the futures were down hard other than to facilitate lower trade. And that's exactly what happened. You know, we could talk about the rumors that I say spread, where they're, you know, I'm not going to have as much slaughter here. When they're making money, they've got contracts written, they've got to fill, you know, orders. They're going to continue to carry speeds pretty well. But very frustrating. But, you know, you think these packers are on the up and up. Well, you know, we heard news on Thursday that JBS, the farmer's friend, you guys remember them, from Brazil, they've agreed to pay $24.5 million in a price fixing scheme on pork. And that also includes ratting out their competitors. So that's why it was so cheap. But that's just a cost of doing business for them. You know, they save back a certain portion of their record profits for bribery, to pay fines and things like that, because that's how they operate. But I'm not sure if the other ones are much better. But you know, you're fighting against a monopoly that's crooked, and that's a kind of a tough way to be. But still here in Oklahoma City, spent my day on Thursday at the National Reining Horse Association for charity sale, and I'm telling you guys, there's no problem with the economy. The kind of money that they're paying for these horses, and you know, it was very interesting. I was taking bids for DV auction, had people all over the country and not even in this country bidding on horses, and a full house there, socially distanced, bidding on them horses. I'm still not sure what realistic benefit you have from a horse sliding on his ass to a stop. Does that help you out on the ranch, or maybe spinning around in circles like a top? But people are willing to pay for them, especially if they're pretty, because that makes a lot of difference. But you know, but it's not much different than anything else, and I'm not knocking them. I'm just telling you how kind of ironic things are. I've been to some seed stock sales here, and you could sure tell by the prices that some of this seed stock things are bringing, these bulls and these replacement females that are selling to other seed stock producers. You can tell that the folks that are buying them don't have to rely on the cattle market to pay their bills. But that's just kind of the way it does. It's still agriculture technically, and it's tax deductible. Kind of like some of my old friends when I lived up in Missouri, their dragster pulling tractors. You know, that's all tax deductible. So that's kind of just, you know, whatever people like to do for fun, and you get to drive big rigs around, and you know, and that's most of it. But let's look at the board on let's see, Thursday, I guess. Yeah, December live cattle futures down $1.10 at 109.60. February down $1.35 at 112.57. Going out from there down 52 to down 87. That's not as much as what we were up earlier in the week, if you put it all together, but enough to kill your fat cattle cash market. January feeder cattle down $2, 139.80. March was down 165 at 139.32. Going out from there, they were down 95 cents to down $1.40. You think, well, was that kind because of the grains. Well, maybe. I don't really think so. Your corn was marginally higher, but not that much. Beans were quite a bit higher, 15 to 16 cents, but all of your animal protein futures commodities were down. Hogs were down quite a bit too. Your fat cattle trade, and I mentioned it earlier, and it's just disgusting, so let's go ahead and talk about it and get it out of the way. Iowa confirmed sales about 1,900 head on Thursday from 107 to 111.40. I'm not sure where the funny money's coming into. That wasn't an online sale or anything on Thursday. But I'm not sure where the funny money comes into on direct trade, but it's there. It tells you how much muscling there is going on out there in these negotiations. Dress trade 172 all the way up to 177.60. Again, there's some funny money. Nebraska 6,300 head, 109 to 110, kind of a spread there. Dress sales 172 to 174. That's still pretty close to steady, but your live cash market's sure lower and mostly a buck. Kansas 6,800 head, 109 to 110, mostly 110, but that's $1 lower on a week that we really missed another opportunity on a week that we should have gained a buck. That's a $2 loss there. That's like you're going in for a touchdown and you throw a pick six going the other way. That's as frustrating as it is. Had a few dress sales there, 172, and as I mentioned, Texas, it's only sold 800 head, few of them at 110. When I get done here at Oklahoma City, I'm headed down to North Texas and take in some of the festivities during the finals. Hope to see you guys down there. If you're one of my buddies there, or you see me out and about, give me a holler. It makes my day when I see somebody that is a Feeder Flash gang member. Box beef cutout values. Choice cuts $239.19 down $1.70. Select $219.93 down $3.02, down really hard on your selects. Your slaughter 481,000. Can't compare it with last week because of Thanksgiving. If you look back a year ago, it's 1,000 heavier than that, so that's sure not bearish. How about your actual slaughter? Information come in for the week ending November the 21st. Quoted our actual dressed steer carcass weights at 923 pounds, down 7 pounds from the previous report. And we've said that we hit our high here a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to be coming down on those weights. That makes up a lot of tonnage, guys, and we're going to lose a bunch more weight on those actual dressed steer carcasses between now and the end of the year. That's another thing that should be supportive, but when you got Packer psychology just hammering it home every day, just the doomsday deal along with the Democratic administration taking over. I mean, it gets to your psyche finally, eventually. But pretty kind of a frustrating type of a trade on a Thursday there. What else is going on? Don't forget some of these special sales. Ozarks Regional Stockyards, West Plains, Missouri. Here on Friday, they've got their pre-vac value-added sale there. Starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I tell you what, there'll be some cattle there with a lot of go to them. They got a lot of Continental Cross cattle there. If you want something that has some quick come on and you can put some weight on, cheapen those things back up, get in there and tune on to dvauction.com and view and bid that sale at Ozarks Regional Stockyards. Be here today on Friday. Callaway Livestock Center in Kingdom City, Missouri. They've got a big sale again coming up on Monday. You can view and bid that sale on dvauction.com. Monday the 7th. I talked to Jack Harrison. Just got done with his big cow special they had on Thursday night, and pretty good demand there for a kind of a heavy run. And you just hate to see so many people in a big cow state like Missouri pulling the plug, because every time you see a cow special, that they've got them loaded to the gills with them. But another sale that I want to talk about, a friend of mine, Eric Dries, out in Emmett, Idaho, which is right on the outskirts of Boise there, but Seven Rivers Livestock that he manages there, that sale barn. I was out there here a couple of months ago, and they had a special with a bunch of balling calves, but the quality is really good. But there was quite a bit of flesh and a lot of ball to them calves when I was there. But he's having a weaned calf special on Tuesday, December the 8th, and expecting around 1,500. And for that part of the country, that's an awful good run. But you might want to get an order in to Seven Rivers Livestock there at Emmett, Idaho. How about your feeder cattle markets? Let's get to talking about them. Real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Thursday at 138.47, down 27 cents. Look at some of your big sales, brick and mortar type sales. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, 2,500 head there. And your trend was all over the place. I'm not sure who reported that sale, and I can't seem to shake my supervision of market reporters that I did for many years there at USDA. But my gosh, that trend was all over the place. The only one that I'll agree on is that the peewee calves weighing under 4.5 were $7 to $20 higher. I would have liked to have got that trend quite a bit more narrow, but my gosh, they had little three and up to 400-pound steer calves, bringing from 220 to 240 in Salina, Kansas there, and that's as high as we've seen them anywhere. But some of the other trends, $2 to $7 higher in the bulk of the run, but they called steers weighing over 850 pounds $1 to $3 lower. They called the heifers weighing over 850 $1.50 higher, which is a pretty precise trend there, especially when you add them all up. There wasn't even 40 head of them, so I'm not sure how that works. But your steers weighing over 850 that they called $1 to $3 lower. Well, they had 129 head string of them that weighed 846, or right at 850, at 145.60. I don't remember them being much higher than that. They had another load that weighed 874 that bring 144.5. Wow. And then look at this deal. 62 head weighed 922 pounds at 143.60. That's $5 over your index levels at over 120 pounds heavier. I'm not sure that they were that much lower. Joplin Regional Stockyards had their weaned back value added sale on Thursday. I was promoting that several times before they had it. They did have it. They did have more than they were estimating. 7,100 head when they got them all together. These cattle have been all long time weaned and preconditioned, had their shots and the whole deal. I like the way Rick Huffman does it, the former co-worker there. Doesn't call a trend on it because you don't have anything to compare it to, but compares it back to the Monday sale to kind of tell you what you're doing. He said that the steer calves weighing under 7.5 and your heifer calves weighing under 6 were steady to $3 higher than the Monday regular sale. Now that makes sense. That's something you can sink your teeth into when actually your market's probably not quite as good as it was on Monday because we've had all this negative stuff happen to us for the last few days. But he also said that the market on those weaned back calves would have been $8 to $10 higher than the balling calves that they had on Monday. So that's another thing you can sink your teeth into. The heavier weight feeding cattle sold steady, and you would assume that because they're short yearling or yearling types, and the wean back doesn't make such a big deal on them. But they had our actual top quote for the day, so I'm going to give that to you at the tail end of the report. How about Ogallala Livestock Auction, Ogallala, Nebraska, 4,900 head there. Calves $8 to $10 higher. Yearlings steady to $3 higher. How about this calf quote? 89 head, 512 pound steers bring 191, but the best quote that I saw anywhere indeed came out of Joplin Regional Stockyards, and that's our Zach Tran top quote for the day. 90 head, 706 pound steers at the weanback special, 151.75, and that's your feeder flash for Friday.